of the IOC Executive Board in this so eventful Olympic year 2024. Today, the IOC Executive Board focused on the massive success of the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Massive success globally and, of course, in France. We received the reports from the organizing committee, chaired by Tony Estenguet and joined by Etienne Taubois. We heard the debriefings from the athletes, the international federations, the national Olympic committees, and other stakeholders. And we also heard about the great success of these Olympic Games for the worldwide media, and in particular our media rights holders, and also our worldwide Olympic partners in the top program. The Olympic Games Paris 2024 were the most followed Olympic Games ever. 84% of the potential audience, that means around 5 billion people around the globe, followed these Olympic Games. Paris 2024 were Olympic Games with the highest marks of appreciation ever given by the stakeholders and the public. Every 28.7 billion hours of footage were viewed around the world on media rights holders' platforms alone. Every viewer watched on average 9 hours of coverage, a 20% increase on the previous Games. Engagement with the Olympic Games Paris 2024 on social media went literally through the roof. There were 412 billion engagements, an incredible 290% increase on the previous edition of the Games. The athletes highly appreciated the Olympic Games Paris 2024. 95% rated their overall experience as good or satisfactory. For 91% of them, it is important to compete at the biggest multi-sports event on earth. Paris came also at the right time for the expectations of our world, as independent consumer research shows. 78% of people believe the Olympic Games are more important than ever in our divided world. 75% of people believe the IOC is successful in bringing the world together in peaceful competition. In 2014, we had a vision for the future of the Olympic Games. This vision is established in our Olympic Agenda 2020. And this vision has one principle at the very top. Olympic Games where the athletes and sport are taking center stage. And then Olympic Games more urban, more youthful, more sustainable, more inclusive. And then Olympic Games with full gender parity, with the same number of quota places for female and male athletes. Paris 2024 was on board of Olympic Agenda 2020 already in their planning phase of the candidature, in a seamless cooperation with the IOC. Then the organizing committee of Paris, under the great leadership of Tony Estanguet and perfectly assisted by Etienne Taubois and their entire team, they added their creativity, their sense of innovation, their vision of French history and culture, and their great engagement with the French people. They prepare the ground for this wonderful excitement we all experienced this summer and for which you cannot plan. But in this way, our vision of Olympic agenda became a reality. These Olympic Games, Paris 2024, met the expectations of the world. These were truly Olympic Games of a new era. People were longing for something that gives them hope. They were longing for something that gives them joy, that makes them proud, something they can believe in, and something that brings us all together. And these were the Olympic Games Paris 2024. I can only say merci beaucoup Paris 2024 et chapeau.
President, thank you very much, and we'll go to you in a moment for questions and answers, but let's have a deeper dive now into that report, the Audience and Insights report from Grégoire. Grégoire, over to you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, good morning. So today I will be sharing a few more insights about the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. So based on the data I'm about to share, we can confidently state that Paris 2024 are the most followed Olympic Games ever. Looking at all channels combined, 84% of the potential audience follow the Paris Olympic Games. So what does it mean? It means that if we exclude people who do not have access to TV, internet, or radio, for example, and if we exclude very young kids, the potential audience we can reach is around 6 billion people. So 84% of that means that we have about 5 billion people who have followed the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Our media right holders delivered very strong results. As mentioned before, a total of 28.7 billion hours of broadcaster coverage were consumed, an increase of 25% compared to the previous games. And in average, each viewers watch 9 hours of coverage, which is 1.5 hours or 20% more than Tokyo 2020. Digital channels played a very important role in driving the massive following for Paris 2024. So on social media, Paris saw 3.9x, so 3.9 times more engagements than Tokyo. And this translated into 412 billion engagements from the 270 million posts that we could identify on social media. So to put that into perspective, it's as if every social media user worldwide would engage over 100 times with Olympic-related posts during Paris 2024. The benefits of digital are also clearly visible for the Olympic movement. So during Paris, athletes, federations, NOCs, OCOGs, they gain an additional 85 million social media followers on the major international platforms. And this will provide them with greater opportunities to engage their growing audience in the future. Paris 2024 also boosted interest in Olympic sports. And what we can see on this slide is the internet searches over time. Here we are focusing on a few Olympic sports: athletics, gymnastics, swimming, and skateboarding, but the trend is very consistent across most of the Olympic sports. And the data shows that the Olympic Games bring more interest for those sports than any other events, including the World Championships. And the peak of interest for Paris is even more pronounced. Moving to athletes and looking at the feedback we have gathered during the games and after the games from the athletes, the top motivational driver for participating in the Olympic Games remain competing at the biggest sport events, with 91% of the athletes rating it as important. And 95% of the athletes surveyed during Paris rated the overall experience very positively. Many of those athletes also shared the positive experience on social media with athletes such as Sky Brown, Simone Biles, LeBron James, or Novak Djokovic, among the ones celebrating their experience and the importance of the event in their career. And finally, survey with the general public across 15 territories show that nearly 8 in 10 people, so 78%, agree that the Olympic Games are even more important in a divided world. And 3/4 of the respondents, 75%, also believe that the IOC is succeeding in bringing the worlds together in a peaceful competition. A similar number, 73%, believe that the IOC is successful in building a better world through sports. So this concludes the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gregoire. And I should just say that this full report will be available online after this press conference. And they really are some truly impressive figures there, I have to say. OK, let's go now to your questions to the whole panel. And I have, first up, I have from Sport Intern, I have Ashish Sharma. Ashish, please put your question. Yeah.
Hi, hello. Can you?
We can hear you. Please go ahead. We can't see you yet, but we can hear you. So please go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. I'll just. It's a pretty face. I'm sure you really want to see it. Mr. President, it was interesting that you've recently had a tour of Africa and visited several countries there. We heard yesterday from the IOC that the Olympic refugee team will be taking part in the Dhaka Youth Olympic Games. How important is it, do you feel, in the mandate for the International Olympic Committee that there is an Olympic Games that is held on the African continent, and how soon do you envisage that to be? Thank you very much.
You know, the first of all, with the Youth Olympic Games, we allocated these Youth Olympic Games to Africa at the time because we wanted to acknowledge the great contribution African athletes are making to the success of the Olympic Games and worldwide sport. And at that time, we did not have a candidate for the Olympic Games from Africa for very different reasons. We saw now during this journey through Africa, but not only since then or during this trip, already before we saw a growing interest again from Africa to organize Olympic Games. We had there the declared interest of Egypt, for instance, We had some other questions more from different countries. And there the signal was that under the conditions of Olympic agenda, they would now feel in a position to organize Olympic Games on the African continent, the only continent where Olympic Games have not yet taken place. Of course, we have noted this with appreciation, as we appreciate every interest in hosting the games, and are excited about the two-digit number of interested parties we have across 4 continents. And now it is in the hands of our members' election commission to discuss there with all of them, and then to find the best, the possible host for the next available games, 2036, or maybe even beyond 36.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go now to Carlos Grohmann from Reuters. Carlos, your question.
Yes,
please.
thank you very much.
Away you
Thank
go.
you very much, Mike. Thank you, Mr. President. A question regarding the schedule for the election, and whether you feel up to now in the first few months of campaigning that every candidate in the presidential election and the members of the IOC have played according to rules up to now. And another question, if I may, on the turmoil in the International Fencing Federation, whether that was at all discussed during the EB the last 2 days. Thank you.
No, thank you. With regard to the first the question, we had there. This is in the hands of the Ethics Commission, and I was and our chief ethics and compliance officer, and so far I have not received any information about any infringement on the rules. I can only maybe say, in the executive board, in this meeting, there are 3 candidates sitting in the executive board, and we had there a very cooperative, a very friendly executive board meeting. If you would not have known that there is a presidential campaign underway, you would not have noticed. With regard to the fencing federation, this was a democratic election with a significant majority, and we have been informed this morning that Mr. Usmanov took the same steps to protect the International Federation as he has taken before on the governance side.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much. Let's go to Japan and Wakako Yuki from Yomiuri Shimbun. Wakako. Good late evening to you there, or early morning probably.
No, it is still before midnight. Thank you for the opportunity, President. One question and one actually your thoughts, if I may. Boxing, Asian federations are divided into 2, and still the move is rather slow going to the banner called World Boxing. Many are hesitant. Is it something that you were concerned? Does it pose serious threat to the re-inclusion of boxing in the Los Angeles program? And second part, if I may, You've been quite active after Paris, with the Paris success, then African nations, then of course e-sport as well. It seems that you are trying to lay some foundation for the future. If there is a new president who would asking you together with the members to remain contributing to the Olympic movement, would your passion allows it for you to continue in one way or other? Thank you.
Well, thank you. With regard to the first question, this is in the hands of the national boxing federations, whether they want their athletes to give an opportunity to win Olympic medals or not. It's very easy, and there we see there are some moves with a number of federations. We are watching this, and when time comes, then we have to make, like for any recognition or provisional recognition of any international federation, we have to make an assessment whether there is a federation, and in this moment it looks like that the only who could it be is World Boxing, whether they are meeting the criteria which we have for such situations, and there to be also very clear, it cannot be IBA. This story is over for all the reasons, the governance, ethical reasons you know. With regard to your second question, I have nothing to add to what I said there in Paris. If my successor wants to have my advice, I am always ready and happy. If the successor does not want to have my advice, I will not impose it.
Thank you very much. We'll carry on our tour of the world. We'll head to Australia. Tracy Holmes is there, hopefully. Tracy?
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thanks. My question is to the President. President Bach, you've overseen the International Olympic Committee with a whole heap of challenges during your time, with COVID, numerous wars, sagas with Russia, the Taliban taking over Afghanistan, and women being banned from sport. You know them well. I just wonder whether you could give us some reflections, please, on whether the job of being IOC President is as you expected, if not, how so? And what do you believe your legacy will be and the challenges going forward?
You know, when you're a candidate there for IOC president, you're not a candidate because you want to be president. You're a candidate because you have a vision for the future of the Olympic movement, because you have ideas, you have a project for which you look then for support in the membership. And there I was very lucky that at the beginning of my presidency I could concentrate in conceiving this vision based on my election platform, and to conceive Olympic Agenda 2020. And so now this is why you see me very, very happy, in some respects maybe also relieved, that we could overcome all these many challenges, and that with Paris 2024 Olympic agenda is not a vision anymore; it's a reality, and that this reality has met, as we could see there, from these polls. The expectations of the world to unite the world in a peaceful competition. And at such moments, it does not make great sense to come back to every obstacle over all the time. You cannot expect 12 years of presidency being a honeymoon. So therefore, you see me happy, and for not to say very happy. With regard to the legacy, again, I still have 6 months. Let's wait and see. And there, I think you're right in your assumption that I want to lay the ground for my successor with regard to the opportunities and challenges I envision for the future of this wonderful Olympic movement. And there, I think we have laid this ground in 2 ways, with the creation of the Olympic esports games, which brings us even closer to a Gen Z as that we have become in the meantime, and which also opens us up new audiences and new points of view, new ways of communication and interacting. And I think even more important is that we have there at the beginning of this year published the Olympic AI agenda by establishing clear principles on how we can see that AI can benefit the sport and how we can mitigate the risks. And that means that on the one hand, this AI, anything we are undertaking in AI must be human-centered, must respect human dignity, must be athlete-centered, like the entire Olympic agenda. And secondly, we must make sure that with the benefits of AI, we are not giving even more privileges to the already privileged countries and athletes, but that we are using AI really as a tool for solidarity and to democratize international sport by making the benefits available to everybody in the world. To try to a better level the playing ground for all athletes across the globe. So this is what I try to do, to lay the ground, and then it will be up to my successor to make it happen if they want.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Let's go to Xinhua, Jiye in Xinhua.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. We can see you too now, so that's even better. Off you go.
Thank you so much. Good evening from Beijing. Question from Xinhua. Mr. President, So today, the Olympic esports games is on the agenda for today's meeting. I'm wondering, are there any new decisions being made regarding with these games? And how about the preparations going on in Saudi Arabia? And will it be on time next year? And when will the program be decided? Thank you.
You're too speedy for us. There were no decisions yet today. We had, as we announced from the very beginning, to establish a totally new organizational model for these Olympic esports games, which is different and separate from the organization model of the Olympic Games. If I should bring this in a nutshell, that is, in the Olympic Games, we have an organizing committee, and we have a IOC coordination commission. For the esports games, we have created a new model by having a joint committee of the IOC and our organizing partners at the Saudi Olympic Committee. And this joint committee is chaired by Mr. Siam-Yang Eng and co-chaired by the president of the Saudi National Olympic Committee, Prince Abdulaziz Al Saud. And this joint committee, it's 6 persons, 3 each. They had their first meeting just in November, and there they have agreed on a roadmap now how to approach the composition of the program, how to approach the stakeholders in e-sport, be it on the one side international federations and of sports federations, or be it national Olympic committees, or be it publishers or other stakeholders. And there was, a great unity in all these the efforts. And so we have today received an interim report and are looking forward to more progress than in the next couple of months.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to the States, to Salt Lake City now, to Lisa Roche from Deseret News. Good to see you again after seeing you on your home turf a few weeks ago. Are you there?
I am.
Lisa?
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
And same, Mark and President Bach. It's good to see you as well. I'm wondering if there was any discussion about the 2034 Winter Games during the EB meetings this week, and also what, if any, concern there might be about there not being an OCOG formed yet. I know the host contract requires that by Christmas Eve, December 24th, and we're still waiting to hear what that's going to look like here in Salt Lake. Does that, I know we're very, very far out, but does that cause any concern? And again, was there any discussion about 2034? Thank you so much.
To the first question, no. To the second question, no.
Perhaps you could elaborate, President.
There was neither a discussion nor are there concerns.
And why not concern? We're 19 days away from a deadline for an organizing committee.
We are 9 years away from, no, how many? 10 years away, you know, from these games. If there I would start to be concerned about an organizing committee maybe formed a month later than the 7 months. I would not come to address any other issues. There would be so many. No, no concern. And
okay.
Thank you.
Glad to see the brains trust here couldn't work out 10 years together, but we got there in the end. Let's go to back.
We may need AI assistance
yes.
also.
Let's go back to Graham Dunbar from Associated Press, AP. Graham, your question, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Mark. Thank you. You hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. First of all, just to say, if we're into legacy talk already, can we say that your President Bach, your willingness to have as many press conferences as you do is very, very much appreciated and increasingly rare in sports governance. And I hope this continues with your successor and maybe other parts of the sports governance world in the future. So thank you.
I was already afraid you say also after my term for me, you know. There.
First, just looking, you've just come off a Summer Games where you were able to have consistent and consistently warm relations with the Elysee and President Macron, who, you know, the timing of the bid process for Paris, you got to meet and deal with very, very early on in his term. The next 3.5 years to Los Angeles could be more interesting and challenging. Do you think that the IOC needs to start working with the White House very soon? Would you want to? I mean, do you have time in your schedule the next 6 months to go to the White House again? Or do you think this is a process that is best started by your predecessor and just maybe needs to be picked up on beginning in July rather than before?
I think it's in the best hands of USOPC and the organizing committee. Whenever they would deem it appropriate, of course, the IOC will be at their side. But we are very confident there with regard to the steps and efforts being undertaken by the organizing committee and by USOPC, taking early contact with the incoming team. And we saw also that President-elect Trump repeatedly declared his support for the games, which we never had any doubt, because he has declared this support from the very beginning. So at this time we are there very confident and relaxed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to Takafumi Yoshida from Kyodo. I think you're in Geneva, Yoshida. Yeah, yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. I want to ask the President about the 2036 Summer Olympics bid timeline. Are you expect for moving to target dialogue during your term or more future? I would like to know number of cities interested too.
No. No, you know, there in 6 months my successor will come in, and here is also a valid for what I said with regard to AI and the Olympic AI agenda and the Olympic esports games. We have tried to lay the ground by attracting interested parties there through the reforms of Olympic Agenda 2020, and we are very happy to see the result. But now, then, my successor and the incoming new leadership team must have the opportunity to unfold their perspectives and to devise their profiles for the next host. And I don't think that it will not happen within the next 6 months. And if for once I'm answering to a speculative question, but please don't take it as a precedent, then I would also say we will at least not see a targeted dialogue during the entire next year. For after, I would not guarantee for anything.
Thank you very much, Yoshida. Let's go to Paris now. Who knows, we might even get a question on the amazing research we had at the beginning. So let's go to Rachel Preti from L'Equipe. Rachel, à vous.
Bonjour Marc.
Hello, Mark. Hello, President. I hope you're all doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. What about you? I'm doing really well. Thank you very much. I asked the question to Christophe on Tuesday. The government had not been toppled down. I would like to ask you the question again. Are you worried about the French Alps 2030 and the guarantee that is part of the financing law, which doesn't exist anymore? And is your favorite candidate for the OCOG the member of the IOC, Martin Fourcade? Regarding the political turmoil in France, we are obviously talking to the regions, to the IOC and the committees in this regard. And we are going to assess whether or not this is going to have an impact on the organizing of the games. But for the time being, we are not worried because of the fact that we have seen the support demonstrated by a very large majority in France to the 2030 Games. We've also seen the figures that have been published just a few days ago by the Bank of France that clearly gave proof to the positive tax and economic impact of the Paris 2024 Olympics. And that is why, as far as we're concerned, the current situation has not changed, even though we are monitoring it very closely. And what about for Martin? You know, that is now part of, that is now in the hands of the stakeholders. We know that there are some ongoing discussions, and we're patiently awaiting the result of the discussions. Thank you.
Rachel, okay, I think we're going to take our last question now, and it is an old friend moved to a new home. It's Rachel Axon from Sports Business Journal. Rachel, if you're there, please ask away.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking the call, and I'll stick with the legacy theme if you'll allow for a little bit, President Bach. I was hoping to get your opinion on the revenue program you've seen through TOP the growth that you've witnessed and been part of during your time there, and how you feel you're leaving that. 3 partners have left this year, 2 still yet to be announced. How has that grown, and what are you handing off to your successor in that program?
Well, we had just during this executive board meeting again a very positive outlook on our commercial programs. There where we could realize, that the growth in these 12 years was extremely significant. I just asked Mark to give me the right figures.
They're coming.
But I can tell you, the final result is that it looks like that for the Olympiad, which is now coming to an end at 24, that we have received revenues in the amount of $7.6 billion. And for the next Olympiad, to 25 to 28, we have already secured $7.3 billion. And with a number of the media rights still to be allocated, with the pipeline we have in the interest for the top program, with the interest we see in our AI activities. There the chair of the Finance Commission has expressed that we can not only count with maintaining the present level, but that we will have further growth of our commercial programs, and with this further growth, there also of our redistribution of the money with our solidarity efforts, which stands at this Olympiad again at $4.7 million per day, 365. And this very positive outlook also allowed us already to increase the solidarity budget by 10%. To $650 million US dollars. And here I'm getting the overall increase since 2013 until 2024. This is 45%.
Right. Rachel, sorry, yes, President.
If you allow me, that we are pretty proud of this, because if you look at the worldwide economic situation, if you look at the challenges other international organizations and humanitarian organizations who have to release the people, who have to significantly reduce their budget, who have until now in December only secured very small percentages of their budget for next year. Then I think we have all reasons to be grateful to our commercial partners and good reasons to be proud of this growth and this stability and the continued growth.
Thank you, President. Rachel, we covered extensively the figures, so there should be some more figures from the press conference on Tuesday, but we're also putting out a press release later with the figures, just in case you didn't catch them all. So we will make sure that gets to you. That brings us neatly to an end. Thank you very much to everyone. For those of you who managed to avoid asking us any questions about the report, the full report will be on audiences and opinions will be on the website. And actually, I assure you, I've been around a long time, but I found it pretty impressive. So please do take a look. But I'd like to thank Gregoire for joining us, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you to Christophe, and thank you to the President.
Thank you very much to all of you, and I wish you a very nice and relaxing holiday seasons, and for the ones among you who are celebrating Christmas like I do, Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year, the first year of a new very promising Olympiad. All the very best.
Thank you.